Grass control is so critical for spring wheat. We're going to talk about how you can manage it on your farm today.
Let's start with the pre-emerge options. The best thing you can do, in our opinion, for most grasses, is use some Prepare. Now certainly there are other products that get talked about out there because people will mention Valor. Well, that's not really a grass product and you have to spray it a month in advance. People will say Zidua, but I'd really kind of like to see that Zidua or Anthem Flex used very early post rather than late pre. So Prepare is really my product of choice, but you know, there are also, let me just throw one last thing out, people who will talk about Olympus or the old Rimfire product. You can do that, I just worry about Olympus carryover if you're going to rotate to another crop next year. So for spring wheat, my first choice is Prepare.
Brian mentioned Zidua, and that is a group 15, which means it's a different chemical family than all the other grass products that we're talking about here. We talk about Prepare, well that's a group 2 or an ALS product. You talk about Olympus, that's a group 2, an ALS product. Our only other family that we're really talking about is group 1s. And so we've got group 1s and group 2s getting used for almost all grass control in spring wheat. And we talk about resistance management and wanting to have multiple effective modes of action. It's a little bit of a challenge in wheat. If you're using that group 2 down, we want to use a group 1 wherever we can effectively post.
Okay, so once again, just so we're clear, Zidua or Anthem Flex that contains Zidua should be used early post. If you're going to use it pre, it has to be used very, very, very late pre. So it's not really a pre-emerge option in my book. But if we're going to talk pre, that's where we talk Prepare, and that can be used before or after planting. That's up to you. It does have good burn down activity and real good residual.
All right, so post-emerge, we've got all the ALS options. Now, if you're talking about having downy brome or cheatgrass, this kind of stuff, winter annual weeds, well, we've got to go to a little stronger chemistry. Most of the time in spring wheat, though, we're talking about wild oats as being the worst weed, and you've got a lot of great choices.
Okay, so again, pre-emerge, basically, you just need to know Prepare. Early post, Anthem Flex or Zidua. Little bit later post, then that's where we're talking about the true grass killers that we've got for spring wheat that are really good in terms of contact activity. Zidua doesn't give you that. It just has residual. The contact killers are going to be Everest 3.0, which is the exact same thing as Prepare, only it's got a safener for wheat. So you can use that post, but again, Everest and Prepare are both ALS chemistry. Then we start talking about Gold Sky that has some Power Flex in it, another ALS. So Darren mentioned downy brome, cheatgrass. Everest and Gold Sky are going to be much better than Axial or Discover or Next Step. Axial, Discover, and Next Step, those are the ACC ACE chemistries. So if you've got wild oats or you have foxtails, then that's the direction that a lot of people are going.
Another product we should mention is Varo, which is another ALS grass herbicide, and most commonly we're seeing that with Husky Complete. So you've got Husky plus Varo, and here's really one of the things that we want to caution you on. If you've got a really bad grass issue out in spring wheat, we want to spray just the grass herbicide whenever we can, because when we start tank mixing broadleaf herbicides plus grass herbicides, it reduces the amount of grass control that we get. We call it antagonism, where the products actually work against each other a little bit. So instead of getting 99% grass control, maybe you get 97, or maybe you get 93. Well, if you've only got a few weeds out in the field, that's no big deal, and you're way better off to save the trip and mix them together. However, if you've got a complete disaster and you say, oh, this is the weediest field I've ever seen, spray the grass herbicide first, wait a week or so, then come back in with that broadleaf herbicide. You'll be very happy that you did.
So once again, we've got ALS herbicides, we've got ACC ACE herbicides. Those are the two common choices. If you want to get some group 15, Zidua, Anthem Flex contains Zidua also, you're going to have to use that real early post, but just understand that's going to give you residual activity only, no contact activity. We do like residual herbicides though, that really can help you with wheat, but the big thing that we're going to tell you today is spray the grass when it's small and use a pre-emerge herbicide. That should give you better weed control and give you better yields in the end.
Controlling our weed of the week will also give you much better yields. Unfortunately, all those products we talked about are not very effective on our weed of the week, but we'll show you what is coming up next.